Warning, you are not watching Siskel and Ebert.
You are now entering Wang's world.
Topical back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. Today I have a film review for How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Before we get to this, please go down to that thanks button and donate me money. Yes, this film is about going against demand, but I need money to live and survive and to make this YouTube channel better, because you need money to do anything, even to blow up a pipeline. So hit that thanks button, donate me some money so this YouTube channel can improve, and if you do,
I appreciate that.
But let's get down to brass tacks. I gave this film an 8 out of 10 wangs.
Why?
Because this film has a lot of clever techniques of how to tell stories, whether you like them or not, or agree with them or not, or think they're cheap or not. And because of that, it makes you think. It makes you have an opinion of these characters. It makes you, to a certain extent, care for these characters, depending on how you feel about the film and the ideas. But the ideas and the caring about these characters and thoughts and opinions roll over to the idea of this film. And that idea makes you think, and film is art, and that's what art's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you feel and think and have opinions and have a conversation. And films don't always do that, especially as the years go on. Those conversations are smaller and smaller and smaller, and instead of topics like this, we get topics of who's gonna be in the next superhero movie. And honestly, even though I personally didn't agree with these ideas and methods, I was very glad to see this movie.
It's interesting.
And I'm curious if I would have liked the movie or had a difference of opinion if it would have been told a different way. Because when we meet these characters, they're all dickheads. For the most part, I didn't like any character. And when it comes to first impressions, they're very important. And my first impression of these characters is I didn't like them. And then it has that non-linear storytelling that a director chose to use to have the meat and potatoes of this character, why they're doing this. And they're kind of justified. They've been wronged by society. They've been hurt. And that hurt carries on every day. Different reasons. Whether it was someone in their family or them personally. But they've been wronged by the system, and they're trying to get back at it through blowing up this pipeline. So if you wouldn't have made me feel like all these people were dickheads at the beginning of the film, maybe I would have felt a different way at the end of the film, and my conversation and ideas and thoughts would be different. But I personally did not like that. I thought it was a bad way to tell the story, but it did add to a sense of a character arc. It added to a sense of, you're changing your mind about things. You're changing your mind about these characters. You're changing your mind about their idea just a little bit in your head. And then you get deeper in the film and you're like, man, they're trying to blow up a pipeline. There's jobs involved. There's this and that involved. And it tells both sides to a certain extent. And I give the filmmakers credit because they didn't have to do that. The thing could have been biased as fuck. But they threw a little bit in about, hey, this is a crazy idea. Here's why it's going to hurt these people. And putting that in there, along with these character arcs and getting to know these characters through the nonlinear storytelling, made the film very interesting and compelling to watch. It made you care to know what's going to happen in the next scene, what's going to happen to this character later on. It forces you to care.
Makes sense.
Another thing that worked in this movie, but again, I didn't like, was the tension when you have people putting together bombs and explosives in very dangerous situations. It's going to be tense. But again, I don't like these characters. I don't fully approve of what they're doing. So for me, it was a objective to make me care, but it was also kind of cheap, you know. Again, I didn't agree with the way this film was being told. I think the director used the non-linear storytelling for a purpose, and it made me care a little bit more about this tension and keep adding tension scenes throughout this film. Made sense and it's logical, but when you have a tension scene, you're gonna care at least for 30 to 40 seconds or longer, a minute or two, about this character and their life and their safety, because we're human beings and these are our protagonists. So in our minds, we're taught this person we're following, we must care about them. And it comes off a little cheap because there's one character in particular, he's a real dickhead. I understand to a certain extent where he's coming from, but he just comes off like a real dickhead to people that aren't responsible for hurting him, you know? Like, he just comes off like he just wants to hurt everyone because he's hurt. And I feel like that was a huge thing left out of this film, that people are hard-headed and only want to deal with problems one fucking way and be angry and hate. And it didn't show another side of around that. I mean, obviously they have people in their lives and it's attempted, but it wasn't enough there to make a conflict of it. I thought that was missing a piece of this puzzle that would have been a very interesting, mouth-watering piece to have, because it would have added a different dimension. It would have made you think different. It would have added a different bias to this film, and might would have made you care, and might would have made you lean a certain way. And I felt like instead of having this divide like a film like this should have, because it's such a wild thing that these characters are doing, it's pushing you in a way to say, hey, these characters are right, when this is a film of gray. The whole thing's a film of gray. So I didn't like how this movie was directed. However, it did work. It started a conversation which you don't always get all the time, and because of that, I respect this film a ton. I was invested, I felt, I thought, and it did all the right things coming out of a film. Personally, though, I think it's a bit extreme, and I'm surprised it even made it to a AMC theater, to be honest with you. But I'm glad a film like this is still being made, and because of that, I gave it 8 Wangs out of 10. Let me know your thoughts, opinions in the comment section below. Scroll back up, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a